What we need is additional maneuver space so that we can exercise under the doctrine that we use, under the new weapon systems that we have, as well as the intelligence systems that have increased the size and the dimension of the modern battlefield.
Not too long ago, Fort Polk was a place where soldiers spent most of their time blowing up things like tanks. Not anymore, now that light infantry forces rotate in and out of the place, thousands at a time, several times a year.
It's extremely important that we provide meaningful training to those units. What we don't want to do is to provide the same area for training time after time so that it becomes unmeaningful or non-meaningful, and the units want to go somewhere else.
And the argument goes, if Fort Polk loses its role as headquarters for joint readiness training, then Louisiana could lose Fort Polk.
And if they didn't have that space, it is entirely possible that Fort Polk, with its $700 million a year budget, could be closed.
Their initial story on all of this was that the visiting commanders are bored with the same terrain. Well, that is silly. Absolutely. There's got to be some earth-shaking reason underneath all of it. That can't be it.
The Army already has access to do limited training in what is now the Kistache Forest, but it says it now needs to do intensive training there.
And we're talking about 1,000 people it lives inside this area. So how is the Army going to put a brigade of 7,000 troops in the field of training when it's going to be around homeowners, people go and visit friends, or sick people, things of that nature? They're just not going to allow it.
People not only make their homes on private land inside the forest, it's also a place where people can hunt, and there are concerns about that, too.
It's a scheduling issue, and we are committed to scheduling the land so that we'll have minimal impact on hunting and recreational opportunities.
I used to hunt on Fort Polk, and with all their red tape, and I had to quit over 20 years ago. I don't even go out there. So now I guess when they take over around my house and my area, I'll have to go elsewhere again.
Finally, pile on top of those concerns the fears of environmentalists for the forest in general and one bird in particular.
I don't think the Army playing war games in an area that is habitat for the red-cockaded woodpecker makes any sense. It just doesn't make any sense.
They can move through here and walking, as infantry typically does, and that doesn't disturb the birds, and we allow that.
Fort Polk counters the endangered woodpecker is actually thriving under the Army's care, and they say if they were to radically change the way they use the forest, they'd have to seek permission.
Changes that we might make which would cause serious, significant impacts to the environment, these have to be addressed, and we have to write documents, and they also have to go before the public.
I haven't had a hearing yet, and I've been calling everybody. Nobody has answered the questions, what's going to happen to y'all? They said, you just stay there.
We're really concerned that public participation, which is a hallmark of democracy, has been overlooked, and that these particular lands are far too valuable to sacrifice for war games without even checking with the public which owns them.